This isn't my first startup. This is going to be the 8th company that I'm helping to lead in a C-level role, or the 12th if you include some board roles. So it's exciting nonetheless, because this is the first time that I'm really getting to tap into the power of an institution like MIT to bring it to bear on a problem like global financial inclusion. In the past, I've done things like helped Fortune 1000 companies build substantial divisions, such as the Enterprise Risk Management and Compliance Division of Dun & Bradstreet, and deployed capital as a venture capitalist. But I'm really excited now to be working at Distilled Analytics, a company that I started in part because I was inspired by my students at MIT. I created MIT's FinTech class, which was the first graduate FinTech class in North America. And eventually, when we took it online and expanded our portfolio to include University of Oxford, we've gone into over 120 countries, inspiring FinTech entrepreneurs. I looked at all these great students who were starting companies, and I felt a little sheepish that I was just opining from the sidelines instead of diving into the fray myself. And so that led me, in part, to start Distilled Analytics. So the research behind Distilled Analytics dates back decades from work that Professor Pentland and his group have been conducting around the world on trying to ask questions like, how can we use new technologies to bring more people into the system? What's interesting is that the future is the global south. If you look at the population today and the growth of economies worldwide, the biggest growth rates are going to come in the global south rather than the global north. This means you're going to have people who are more poor and more mobile enabled. They're mobile first, who are dealing with the financial system. The financial system today is not really set up to handle that. Today's financial system is constructed around 10 million customers with an average balance of maybe $1,000. It has no way of handling 1 billion customers with an average balance of $10. But it turns out that if you take some of this research that Professor Pentland had conducted around social physics and around using big data extracted from things like mobile phones, and you apply it to financial services, you can create scalable systems to bridge to the customer of the future that represents the next 50 years of financial services. There are other companies that are trying to use, let's say, identity technology to better resolve who people are. Companies like Socure or Secured Touch. In the beginning, you had companies that eventually were acquired by people like Apple that did basic physiological biometrics. I'm going to take your fingerprint and I'll scan it off of a device on the phone and use that for account security and identification. A couple of problems with that, not the least of which is the fingerprint security on the iPhone 7 was cracked within 24 hours of its release. The facial recognition software on the iPhone 10 was cracked within 48 hours of its release. And it's worth noting that Professor Pentland invented the original facial recognition software, the eigenfaces, back in the early 1990s. So that's old technology. He's since moved on to much newer generation technology. Some companies have started looking at ideas around behavior, but they're still kind of anchored in this question of who you are, rather than not only who you are, but also what you're going to do. And that's what we call Biometrics 3.0. So Biometrics 1.0 is fingerprint or facial scan. Biometrics 2.0 is basic behavioral recognition. Biometrics 3.0 is a combination of techniques that include behavioral, physiological, geospatial, temporal traces, and other biometrics in an adaptive Bayes net. This is a very complex artificial intelligence system where the different models of behavior talk to each other. This forms a much, much better resolution identity for someone, and it also predicts what they're going to do around things like credit, what are they going to do with their money, or fraud, are they going to do something bad? Since starting the company in January 2017, we've come a long way. We went through a pretty extended market discovery phase and still were able to sign our first paying customer within 9 months of launch. We've been building out the technology, analytics, and our team. Over the summer of 2018, we signed 2 more enterprise customers, and now are poised to sign 4 more between November and the end of 2018. We're setting up for a tremendous 2019 with over 200 customer prospects in our pipeline and a lot of excitement around our predictive identity software technology. The future of Distilled is quite bright. We are starting to see network customers come online. These are organizations that in turn have thousands of enterprise clients that see putting our technology at the heart of their next generation offering and then working with us to secure scaling of revenue and customer footprint. At the moment, today, we are in conversations with network partners that touch over 2 billion consumers globally. We see an opportunity for Distilled Analytics to become the global standard for identity, credit, and fraud analytics. This is exciting for us because the whole point of this exercise is to generate change at scale, to solve structural problems in the financial system, and we're getting the partners online and the customers online who are going to help us do that.